Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on One Up, starring Ruby Rose, about female gamers. And you could pretty much write the rest. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's what? It's the Pineys, books 1 through 9. Available at Amazon.com. Kindle Unlimited is free. I will be at Crossroad Comics in Pittman, New Jersey tomorrow night for the big signing at 6 p.m. It's going to be a big night in town. There's going to be stuff to do. Come on out if you're in the area. Now, look, this comedy, rated C. Not for comedy, but for cringe. This is about the girls beating the guys. Oh, there's a bunch of toxic males on a video game team, which isn't even a sport, really. They play video games, but okay, whatever. And now there was a girl on the team, but they were sexist to her or whatever in the most cartoony fashion imaginable. So she decides to build an all-girls team, and Ruby Rose is going to coach them because that's a thing, you know? That's a thing, to coach people playing video games. Look, I'll say this now to the makers of this movie and all the feminists out there. Give it a rest. Gamergate is over. It's over, okay? It's over. Stop trying to push video games on women. Now, do some women play video games? Yeah. Some women read comics. Some women are into cars. Some women are into sports. But that percentage of women is small. Very small. And this constant drive. No. You have to beat the men at their thing. Video games is a guy thing. Okay? We don't come to Bed Bath & Beyond or brunch or the shoe store and blow up your spaces. We don't do that. But Hollywood and the people, mostly on the left side of politics, is insistent that they're going to prove to you that all guys are a bunch of toxic male idiots. Women, if only you let women play, they'd beat you. They'd beat you bad. So, I mean, it's meant to be a light comedy movie. It's kind of meh as comedy because it's not really a thing. It's not really a thing. It's not really a thing. This is a feminist thing. And it doesn't surprise me that Ruby Rose is in it. Joan, what the hell? Stink face? What the hell, stink face? I'm trying to do the thing. Just as sure as I know that most of the women out there see my cute dog and go, "Aw, look at his dog. I don't like what he's saying, but I like his dog." I am sure that most women don't play video games. That's not a knock against women. That's okay. Most guys don't have more than, 3 pairs of shoes. Have you met women? Have you seen their shoe closet? They have a lot of shoes. And that's fine. You like shoes. It's okay. It's okay to be girly. It's okay for this girl to wear cat ears on her headset and be all pink and girly. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine to make this movie too. But for comedy to work, you need a shared reality, a shared experience. You need to be able to watch the comedy and go, oh yeah, that's a thing. I watched, not too long ago, Norm Macdonald, because he had passed on, his very underrated movie, Dirty Work. Now, you might look at, that's a movie from the 90s, it's very sexist, whatever. The reason it works is because everybody likes a little revenge. That's why it works. It's a universal concept, right? So it's a fantasy that they live out in the context of a comedy, that they're able to start a business for revenge. This, I guess, is a fantasy for feminists who make up a tiny portion of the population, for the same women who started Gamergate and, have essentially attempted to ruin video games for everyone by concept. We have to have women. We have to have women characters. They're currently trying to do that to Warhammer, a game that in its lore says it's all men. It's in its lore. It's written in the very fiber of what it is. So you don't have to change Warhammer, ladies, and most normal women know this. The normal women are just going, yeah, sure, right. You would just make our own thing. If I was interested in Warhammer or video games or any of the crap you're talking about, but most women aren't. They just don't care. They just don't care about this. So this is a minority of, I think, mostly women who sit around all day. Oh, we gotta get those men. We gotta get them. We gotta show them, because otherwise, women, girls, they won't beat the men, and they'll feel bad about themselves. Women feel bad about themselves a lot of times because the men aren't paying attention to them. This is that Amazon thing, by the way. Ugh, stop going woke, Amazon. Oh, by the way, it's from BuzzFeed Studios. So now I know where you got your feminism from. And Lionsgate, unfortunately. Why did I buy stock in Lionsgate? This is not financial advice, by the way. So, I mean, is it totally devoid of comedy? No, there's like a bit here with the fat girl who's obviously the fat, little mini Melissa McCarthy, excuse me, going for exactly the junior version of the character she did in Bridesmaids. Right? She's even got the hat. And it's not totally unfunny. I mean, the actors, there's no diss against the actors. The actors are bringing good performances here. I'll say that. I'll say the cast has got a certain energy, except for Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose looks DOA. Looks like she's bored. Doesn't look like she's putting in much effort at all in this movie, from what I've seen. She's given the same tired performance. Because, quite frankly, Ruby Rose was more of an action person, not a comedian. She's not a comedian. And I don't know with her injuries if she can make this transition to comedy. I kind of doubt it. She just, And then, we got a sexist teacher in here, too. Yeah, there she is. I mean, that's her face through most of the movie. And she's, balding it up and doing her old butch girl routine. Okay, I guess we know what happened to Batwoman after she fled Gotham City. She came here to coach a video game team. Would I see this? God, no. This looks terrible. It just looks awful. It looks like it'll be painful to watch. It looks like it's just going to bash men the whole movie. And, it looks so unnecessary. Now, if you could have made a movie about, a group of, this is what we used to do in the 80s. It would be a group of misfits. And yeah, you could make the main character a girl. Because she would be a misfit in this world. Because, again, most women don't play video games. So she could be the misfit that leads a ragtag group of, gamers to victory over the evil, they call them betas. I mean, like, what is that? Like, okay, so you're simultaneously showing how toxic these guys are, but you think a group of guys would name themselves the betas. That's the name you chose. That's the toxic name you chose. Also, this sword logo, which is obviously very phallic. I mean, could the metaphors be even more ham-fisted at this point? So first act, the girl who plays video games. She's a hot blonde. Hot blonde. Yeah. I would guess that this actress, auditioned for this. Now maybe she could play some video games, and they asked her, "Oh, do you ever play video games?" "Oh yeah, I've played some video games, right?" And then she gets this role, and they're like, "Oh boy, I got to play a bunch of video games now," because I played a few, but whatever. But I mean, she's mainly in this role because, like all lead actresses, she's smoking hot. So they put her on this team. They tell her she's only here because she's a girl or something, and she ends up quitting the team. Second act, she starts her own team full of women, but they're stupid and need Ruby Rose to coach them to not be stupid. And then, of course, Ruby Rose has a strange way of coaching, and they do all these wacky things. and it's supposedly hilarious, although totally unrealistic in my view. Then, of course, for some reason, they have to beat the guys in a competition, or somebody won't get a scholarship. I don't know. There's some reason. And a third act, oh, they do. Let me give away the entire movie. My guess, they totally beat the guys. And this redheaded kid ends up hooked up with the fat girl because she's so aggressive. And there's a whole moment here where they're trash talking each other, but it gets a little weird, and it's obviously they're into each other. Right? Okay. So back in the 80s, what it would be is the main character would lead a ragtag group of misfits to victory over a bunch of jerks that they were probably rich. The rich kids, that was usually a good target. Or, the mean kids in school, the popular kids in school, and they were the misfits. Instead, we've got the girls against the guys in something that, quite frankly, it doesn't comport to reality. It just doesn't comport to reality. Get over Gamergate, okay? Just get over it. Okay, guys like to play video games. Ladies, if you want to play, come play. But, it is a group of guys. Are we not allowed to be guys? If we're not allowed to be guys, okay. One day we'll make our own server with our own games, and there'll be no women allowed, and I'm sure you'll complain about it, but hopefully the makers of the server will say, oh, sorry, still no women. Because what choice do we have? What choice do we have if you constantly have to invade our spaces? What choice do we have? What do we get for us? What do we get? Do we get anything? No. We've got constant competition. Constant competition from the women. And yet, how many men go to brunch spaces, go to the shoe store and try, there's not enough guys stuff in the ladies' shoe store. They're not playing Sports Center and feeding me beers, with hot bikini girls here. This is totally a woman's space. Make it for guys too. Do you want that? Do you want that? Is that what we have to do? We have to invade your spaces until you finally go, oh, this sucks. Why are they ruining our solace away from the men? We just don't need to be around you 24/7. That's it. We want to have a situation in which we get away from women and do our own thing. That's what we want. That's what we want. And because of that, because video games was one of those things, and now you're trying to hone in on it, and you're still doing it badly, by the way. You're still doing it horribly. Horribly. But you keep trying. You keep wasting your time, feminist, and wondering why doesn't anybody like us? Why doesn't anybody take up feminism? Why don't the women support us? The women don't support you because they don't want to do this crap. And you end up pulling them away from femininity, which there's nothing wrong with it. The men like feminine women. They like them. They really like them. You don't need to be up in our business 24/7. You just don't. And this is a movie that, ladies, you gotta beat the guys. You gotta beat them. Beat them in their thing. It's just exhausting seeing a movie like this. Because you gotta imagine the money they spent just to make this film. Just to what? Who is this for? Who is this for? The 10 gamer girls that exist? Who, they already know. Anybody knows it's the women who actually are gamers. It's mostly a guy thing. They know it better than anybody. This is for feminists. It's not for any gamer, in my view. So, please, BuzzFeed Studios, stay out of the movie business with your wackiness, your wacky social engineering that you're attempting to do poorly, might I add. Okay, yes, women can play video games. You can play video games if you want. Will they? No, because women are more into relationships. They do things mainly for their boyfriends and husbands because they like to be involved in their life. But it's not like how guys see stuff. Guys get into video games because that becomes their thing, and they go down that rabbit hole. Women go down the rabbit hole with not the game itself, not the comic books or the movies or all the other stuff you attempt to push them into. They go along with it because it's like, oh, Brad likes this. I have to learn Brad's world because I want to be with Brad and be a good girlfriend or whatever. Oh, that's not true? Well, so please, stop making movies. Stop listening to feminists. Stop listening to them. Because they don't comport with reality. And you need reality to do comedy well. Hey, do this. I'm sure there's a couple of laughs you can squeak out of this. Sure, I could write the screenplay and give you a few laughs, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's cringe. So please stop. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for more base takes. If you can imagine a more base take than that. And we'll see you. Well, let me vote this down. And we'll see you in the next one.